part, we are going to present to you 3 tips, strategies that you can implement immediately at your company to be able to do better in reaching people in terms of where they are at today. So we're presenting 3 tips for you that you can implement with your staff immediately. Number 1, get hyper local with your messaging. We're going to talk about that in a second. Putting education over selling and making sure that you focus on the relationship more than discussing the product or service. So we're going to break down each of those very specifically with our expert on hand, Rod. Rod, let's jump into the first one. We're talking about getting hyper local with messaging. What does that mean? What can sales professionals, consultants, business owners in the services industry do in terms of getting hyper local with the people that are in their area?
Sure. People like people they can trust, right? Showing that they have a commonality and geographically is going to help that connection. So you have to target your customers with very local and precise terms, especially on search, right? You can, for example, just look for a specific guide or create a guide that's specific to cities that you are targeting, right? You got to build similar content, video content on who you are speaking to. There's specific regulations within cities, within counties, maybe even states that you need to be aware of and make your customers aware of, so that you build trust very effectively. Google itself often shows businesses based on the location, how near you are to the location of the business. So, for example, you can type in plumber and automatically Google will add near me to the end of that search term as you're typing it into Google. So it's essential that you have this local presence, and you focus on making sure that the content you're creating and the presence you're creating has those hyper localized words and messaging in it, so that you're effectively reaching the right audience.
Rod, I was going to say, I can't agree with you more in exactly what you're saying, because I think about when I have a problem at my home, I'm going to trust the local option over maybe the national company where, they've got branches everywhere. The person who I'm calling probably is from a call center, maybe who's not even based in my region. I want someone who knows the neighborhood, who knows the needs that I have specifically. Do you think that's the case for most homeowners nowadays?
I believe so. It's just much more efficient, right? Like, you trust the local business, right? Like, a little bit more than somebody that doesn't know the area, or maybe be disconnected from the area itself.
Yes, absolutely. So you have to get hyper local with your messaging. Great point, Rudd. Let's go to the second strategy that you can implement immediately in your company to update your communications. And that comes down to putting education before selling. Sounds fancy, Rod. What does that mean in action?
No, it's really about producing content that will help educate your end consumer about your processes, about the products that you sell or the services that you provide, and putting those as priority versus traditional marketing of products and services, right? Making sure that the content that you're putting out there, it fits with their buying process and how they'd like to be informed before they make that purchase decision, right? Oftentimes in the past, I think the salesperson or the consultant was the first person that you go to for all information. Today, people are expecting it to be easily and readily available online. If you're the one putting out that content, you're going to be considered the authority, right? People are going through all this research process, and they're looking for those options that have attractive and authoritative presence online already. So by providing that thought leadership, like in content like how-to videos, free ebooks, white papers, you can provide that value when it's needed most, and you're going to be the first person they think about when they call.
Absolutely. It's about being the expert, like you said, and the best way you can show that you're the expert is to show that you know what you're talking about and you're willing to share that knowledge instead of just trying to be that person who's trying to push the sale. Great points, Rod. Let's move into number 3, the third thing that we're talking about in terms of being able to improve your overall communications in today's digital first world: relationships over services. Again, it sounds great on a Hallmark card. What does that actually look like in the trenches, Rod?
Yeah. So marketing is often just the beginning of a relationship with the customer. You got to view your communications as a full journey, right? The buyer's journey for them. And you're the guide that helps them connect all the dots. So COVID-19 has placed new emphasis on relationships, and our customers need less charm and more focus on insights and solutions. Building trust really leads to the rewards, but only for those that really listen to their customers and their customers' needs, and then craft the solutions to meet those specific needs and wants. So an example of this, you got to make sure that you share who's coming and upcoming to appointments by sharing a photo of them or a name and even a brief background of the person in order to humanize them.
It's a great idea, Rod. Absolutely. So I can see the person that's showing up to my door, maybe a name, maybe even a little bio, right? Like, hey, this person's lived in this county for X amount of years. They've been working for the company X amount of years. That makes me feel more comfortable. That first touch, I kind of know who they are, and
Mhm.
that takes the stress off a little bit. I think it's the
Yeah,
beginning of the relationship, like you said.
absolutely.
Rod, talk to me a little bit about the whole charm factor. We think, or I think we're used to people coming in and they're just trying to sell us. When it
Mhm.
comes to those in-person consultations, you lose that ability a little bit when you do it digital first, because there's not that same engagement. So then it comes down to being, like you said, the person who knows what they're talking about and can
Right.
provide solutions. In your own life, do you see this as true in your interactions with individuals? Do they want to see solutions over charm?
No, I think it's a combination, right? People have to like you when they meet you as well. So like building rapport is a big part of it, and I think that's considered part of charm, right? So I think it goes hand in hand with both. You have to have not only charm and being able to build rapport with an individual, but you also have to have that authority backing you up, right? Through content or through the solution that you're providing.
Great points, Rod. Absolutely. So just to recap, ladies and gentlemen, if you are thinking about how to be able to improve your client relationships now going into 2022, three things that you can do immediately and get your consultants to do the same. Get hyper local with that messaging. Make sure that you're speaking to them on the local level. Put education over selling and focus on the relationship over the selling. We can't say it enough. It's so important to make sure that you're really pushing that to make yourself seem more genuine. And you want to be more genuine, not just for the sake of it. So